Welcome to Better Call Saul Season 2 Recap. But before we start the recap, I want to let you guys know that I have recapped more series on this channel and will continue to recap a lot more. So if you enjoyed that type of content, consider subscribing to this channel. Alright, let's get back to the recap. Jimmy decides to decline the offer he got from Davis and Maine and even closes down his small law firm. Together with Kim, he goes on a wild run and they con a stock trader into buying them expensive food and drinks. After having some fun, he decides to accept Davis and Maine's offer. Meanwhile, Price decides he no longer needs Mike's protection and goes to meet Nacho alone. Noticing that Mike is absent, Nacho learns Price's real name and address and breaks into his house. Price then calls the cops, but when they arrive, they find a hidden compartment and become suspicious of him. At the police station, Mike encounters Price, who is there because his baseball cards were stolen. Mike offers to get his cards back, so that Price doesn't have to talk to the police. He convinces Nacho to return the cards by threatening to inform Tuco about his side hustle, and then calls Jimmy to represent Price. Jimmy successfully convinces the police that the hidden compartment contained fetish videos, and they let Price go, while Kim worries that this type of behavior will jeopardize his position at Davis and Maine. Building their sandpiper case, Jimmy approaches a bus full of elderly, informing them about the overcharging and thus gaining clients for their class action lawsuit. During a meeting, Chuck tries to discredit Jimmy on his client outreach methods, but Jimmy assures the senior partners that everything is done by the books. Meanwhile, Mike conducts surveillance on Stacy's house when she tells him that she heard gunshots at night. However, he finds out that it were just newspapers hitting the ground. The partners at Davis and Maine are furious about Jimmy running a commercial without their approval, but Cliff decides not to fire Jimmy over this. Kim is meanwhile reprimanded by Howard for not telling about the commercial and is demoted to doc review. Nacho then offers Mike a job in which he's to kill Tuco, but Mike disagrees with the killing. He successfully executes a plan to get Tuco in jail by having Tuco beat him while carrying a gun, resulting in Tuco being arrested for assault with a deadly weapon. Jimmy finds Kim in document review and tells her she should take action against HHM, but Kim tells him not to interfere with her business. She then cold calls several potential clients and succeeds in gaining one, Mesa Verde, a bank which is planning to expand. However, even after this, Howard still keeps her in doc review. Chuck approaches her and tells her about when they were little, Jimmy would steal money from their father's shop, leading to its bankruptcy. Meanwhile, Hector Salamanca confronts Mike and offers him $5,000 to tell the police that the gun was his and not Tuco's. Chuck convinces Howard to get Kim out of doc review. However, Howard only gives her the crappy assignments, such as arguing an unwinnable motion. Impressed by her, Rich offers her a job at Schweikart and Coakley, which is the opposing firm in the Sandpiper case. Mike decides to decline Hector's offer, causing Hector to terrorize him and threaten his family. Eventually, Mike agrees to tell the police the gun was his, but only for $50,000, with Hector reluctantly agreeing. Mike gives $25,000 back to Nacho, stating that he failed to uphold their deal since Tuco will now be released sooner. With Jimmy at his side, Mike changes his story about the assault to the district attorney and goes on to survey Hector's restaurant after promising Stacy a new home in a safer neighborhood. Not truly happy with his employer, Jimmy decides to get fired at Davis and Maine by annoying Cliff and his co-workers so as to keep his signing bonus. He then proposes to Kim that they start their own practice together, but Kim offers that they should run solo firms but share their expenses and office space. Kim informs Howard that she's leaving HHM and they both hurry to secure the Mesa Verde account. Kim convinces Kevin and Paige to be their counsel, but Kevin later changes back to HHM when Chuck convinces him that his banking experience will be invaluable. Meanwhile, Jimmy trespasses on an Air Force base to shoot an ad with a B-29 bomber called Fifi. When Chuck becomes ill due to his trip to HHM, Jimmy takes care of him, but seizes the opportunity to change the Mesa Verde files. Mike then continues his surveillance of the Salamancas and prepares an attack. He ambushes one of Hector's money trucks and steals $250,000, hoping to attract the police. But Nacho tells him his plan failed because a Good Samaritan helped the driver and the Salamancas cleaned up the scene and killed the Good Samaritan. Meanwhile, the Mesa Verde expansion is halted because Chuck filed the incorrect address. Sure of himself, he suspects Jimmy sabotaged him and visits the copy store where Jimmy altered the documents. But due to his illness, he falls and hits his head. Watching from a distance, Jimmy rushes in the store and comforts Chuck. Meanwhile, Mike has bought a sniper rifle and heads out into the desert to assassinate Hector. But then he hears his car horn in the distance and rushes to it. On his windshield, he finds a paper with the word "Don't" on it. Later that day, Chuck tells Jimmy that he will retire, causing Jimmy to feel guilty and admitting that he changed the Mesa Verde files. When Jimmy then leaves, Chuck reveals the tape recorder he planted. Thank you all for watching and see you on the next recap.